In the spring of 1964, 20-year-old Kenny Moore stood on the infield of the University of Oregon track with a pair of hands around his throat. The hands belonged to Bill Bowerman, his track coach. Moore had just finished running an easy 12 miles, and was discussing his progress after coming off a bout of the flu. Bowerman, fair of a man that he was, had been taking Moore's pulse moments before, when he slipped his calloused hands around the middle-distance runner's neck with an ultimatum. "Mr. Moore, I'm going to ask you to take part in an experiment." The coach began lifting most of the runner's weight off his feet. Moore was not to run, jog, or otherwise move a single step faster than a walk for 3 weeks unless the Oregon coach himself was watching him in practice. If any of his teammates saw him putting in extra mileage, Moore would be off the team. 3 weeks later, after following Bowerman's experiment, Moore ran the 2-mile against Oregon State in 8:48, winning the race and clocking 27 seconds faster than he ever had before. At the beginning of every track season, Bowerman would invite his athletes up to his ranch overlooking the Mackenzie River. The meetings would always start the same way, with a parable about a motivational mule driver, or Skinner, that summed up the track coach's philosophy. "Farmer can't get his mule to plow," Bowerman would say. "Can't even get him to eat or drink. Finally calls in a mule Skinner. Guy comes out, doesn't even look at the mule. Goes in the barn, gets a 2x4, and hits the mule as hard as he can between the ears. Mule goes to his knees. Mule Skinner hits him again, between the eyes. Farmer drags the mule off. That's supposed to get him to plow. That's supposed to get him to drink," the farmer asks. "I can see you don't know a damn thing about mules," says the Skinner. "First you have to get their attention." For many University of Oregon athletes, getting that attention wasn't as extreme as holding Kenny Moore nearly off the ground by the throat, but the message was the same: you changed your bad habits, or else you were off the team. Fundamentally, that was the proof. "That was my 2x4, that I had to take those easy days," Moore said. "That I'd just been wasting all that effort and not been getting any improvement for it." Coaching track involves more than telling athletes to run more quickly. Bowerman would look for any advantage to shave off precious seconds at the finish line. In addition to his unorthodox way of telling Moore he needed more rest after having had the flu, the coach had a lot of feelings about shoes. In 1965, Moore was called in to Bowerman's office. The runner had split his foot open during a track meet, and the long run afterward, a quarter-mile farther than Bowerman had prescribed, caused a stress fracture in his foot. "You will lay before me the shoes you wore," Bowerman ordered Moore, who placed the blue and white flats on his coach's desk. When not racing in spikes, runners often wear a different type of shoe called a flat, which, as the name suggests, has a thin, flat rubber sole. Bowerman ripped Moore's shoe apart in front of him, revealing only a small amount of padding and no arch support. "If you set out to engineer a shoe to bend metatarsals until they snap, you couldn't do much better than this," he said. Not only that, the outer sole rubber wears away like cornbread. "This is not a shit shoe, it's a double shit shoe." 6 weeks later, Bowerman gave Moore a pair with the proper cushioning and arch support. He had made them himself. Excerpted with permission from Kicks by Nicholas Smith. Published by Crown, an imprint of the Crown Publishing Groups, a division of Penguin Random House LLC. Copyright 2018 by Nicholas Smith.